Hello and welcome to Dabbling in Journals. If you've seen any of my previous videos, thank you so much for coming back, and if you're new to my channel, you're very welcome. Lovely to see you. Now, what I decided I was going to do today was show you my process of decorating an insert in this journal. This is my Camel Traveller's Notebook from Traveller's Company Japan, and I use this for my gratitude and celebrations journal. But I've had my first YouTube bloop or blunder. Maybe I should change my name to Blundering in Journals, because I took some video footage decorating my journal, and unbeknownst to me, after 30 seconds my camera just stopped recording. I don't know why. So whereas I did have a nice blank journal to share with you and show you how I decorate it, I've now got a half finished journal, which I'm still going to share the rest of the decorating of this cover with you. So this is my celebrations journal, as I just said, and I decided this year, whilst we're in lockdown and struggling with COVID, that we would try to make some opportunities to celebrate as a family, and we would celebrate the changing of the seasons. So I've already documented in here our first spring celebration. So what I wanted to do with the cover was indicate that that's the content of the journal, and I decided that I would do a little colour pencil sketch, one for spring, one for summer, one for autumn or fall, and one for winter. And I've already recorded this amount before I realised, or I hadn't recorded this amount before I realised. But what I thought I'd do is I'll just explain very quickly what I've already done, and then I will start at the bottom here with this image, and then if there's time. Okay, so I started off, I just drew some circles with a compass, or you could draw around something or whatever, and all I've done is taken, for example, a little colour pencil and just drawn, like, I think they were supposed to represent leaves all the way around, and I chose different colours that I thought went with the season that I was trying to represent, and then added some embellishments. These are just little circles in yellow to sort of indicate spring flowers, some little purple doodles to indicate the lavender that I was going to doodle inside this one. These are like little seed pods, so I just did a little line and a circle and the sort of empty stalks coming out where the flower had fallen from the, I don't know the botanical terminology, but the petals had all gone. And then obviously a little bit of holly for winter, because that's very reminiscent of winter. So that's what I've done so far. Obviously this is supposed to be a bee flying. I'm going to add a bit of glitter to her wings later, and this one really made me laugh, because the drawing came, I intended him to have like those spiky triangular teeth, and something went very wrong with that drawing. I don't know if you can see, but the mouth is all higgledy-piggledy, and I decided to leave it like that because it made me laugh and reminded me of what my pumpkins look like when I try and carve them for the children, and the mouths tend to end up just as higgledy-piggledy as that one. So it made me chuckle, so I'm leaving it like that. And that was my bee, you can see. And what I thought I'd do in the bottom circle is a robin, and I think a daffodil in the top one. But I'm going to start with the robin. So the materials that I'm using obviously are colour pencils, so I'll show you the colour pencils that I've chosen in case you're interested. Most of these are Faber Castell Polychromos pencils, apart from two which are Caran D'ache luminance. I always use the Caran D'ache luminance in white because it's really opaque and I really like it. And then I've chosen another couple of luminance pencils simply for the colour. So this is like a very pale beigey brown that you can't get in the Polychromos, and this is a very pale lavender. And I've chosen the lavender to represent the white on the robin. You could choose blue or you could use grey, but I thought I'd choose lavender because then it will match my lavender flowers above. And then I've just swatched out the colours here. So I always like to do that just to make sure, because the colours aren't always exactly the same as they look on the actual pencil. The only other materials I'm using is my Traveller's Company clip. This is a beautiful brass clip, and I really like it because it opens really wide, and I'm just going to use that because my notebook keeps flopping open, so I'm just going to clip it down. Then I have an eraser in case I go wrong, which I inevitably do. That's a Derwent Soft Art Eraser in black. I have my little mini eraser just in case I want to erase something really tiny. The only other supply that I may or may not use, it depends whether or not I feel the need, is some odourless mineral spirits. And in fact, let me show you one where the label hasn't fell off. So this is a Winsor & Newton odourless mineral spirits. Obviously I live in the UK, so Winsor & Newton is very affordable, but you can get other makes if you're elsewhere. You just want an odourless mineral spirit, doesn't matter what make, if you choose to use it, which you don't have to. And then I've just got an oil painting brush. Because colour pencils are made from oil and wax plus the pigments, then an oil painting brush I find is good for blending them if I decide that I want to do that. And this mineral spirit will kind of melt the oil or wax that's holding the pigment in the pencil so that you can just kind of paint with it. We'll see. I don't know if I'll need to use that or not, but I might do just to show you. Okay, I'm using a reference photo from pixabay.com, which I will link below, and hopefully insert the reference photo into the video. I use them because their reference photos are all copyright free, so you don't have to worry that you're breaking any rules, laws or whatever if you use the photographs from their site. And I've got my photograph of a robin, and I think I'm going to start by drawing his little black beady eye, which I think is going to go somewhere around here. Now, because this is just a sketch, it's not like going to be like an amazing work of art. I'm not going to bother doing a kind of under sketch or, you know, like pencil sketch or anything first. I'm just going to do my best to draw what I see, and I start with his little beady eye, and you can see I've left a little white dot in the middle. That's just to be the highlight in his eye. And then I'm going to go around it. You can't really see. I'm going around it with the white pencil, which if you look at the picture, he's got a pale bit around his eye. So I just put some white in first, just to sort of mark that out. And then I'm going to take a light orange. It doesn't matter, you know, whether or not you have the exact same colours that I'm using here. You just want something that looks like as near as you can get. The most important thing is that you have light and a dark and a medium, and you know, so that you can get the values right. So I'm just going to draw. He's got like a little red. Don't know if he's going to come out of my circle like my bee did, because I'm not very good at judging how big something's going to be, which is why you should really do a pencil sketch. I'm just too lazy. Also, if you do a pencil sketch, you've got to like try and dab off all the graphite, or it makes your colours go muddy. Even though he's called a robin redbreast, he's actually orange. When I'm looking at him, he looks orange in terracotta. He doesn't look red, which is why I'm not using red, because I kind of like to copy similar colours to the ones that I see, and I also thought it would look nice with my pumpkin that I've already drawn. So just drawn that little like a rectangle shape, and that's what I always look for, is the shapes. So his beak, which is black, or I'm not sure it is totally black, but it's a triangle sort of shape, and I notice it's got a little tiny white dot there. And then I'm going to use a really dark brown for the rest of the beak, because I'm not sure if it is black. I'm not sure if I've done it the right kind of shape, but we'll see how he turns out. Hopefully the beak will look beak-like in the end. And then I'm going to pop some feathers for the top of his head, and this, because I'm not using proper drawing paper, I'm just drawing on my journal cover or insert cover, and it's got a bit of a tooth to it. Can you see? I don't know if you can see, but it kind of looks really speckly. I'm not going to worry about that, because I can go over it again until I get it as smooth looking as I want, and I want to put several layers of pencil on anyway. With this robin, I want him to look nice with the other colours that I've got on my page, so I'm sort of using that to choose my colours as well as anything else. I can see a little bit of yellow under here, and we can do a number of different layers. So if you use a colour and then you think, oh, that's not quite right, you can always go over the top of it with coloured pencil, especially if you've painted some of the mineral spirits on. It makes it easier to go over the top of the colour. Or if you really hate it, you can obviously erase it out with an eraser. So coloured pencils are fairly forgiving. They're not as difficult as watercolour, I don't think anyway. Not everybody would agree with me, I'm sure. So I'm colouring around his little eye. Robins are so cute. We've had robins in our garden at winter for years. In fact, ever since we've lived in this house, We had one calamity. They had babies, and my daughter spent ages trying to keep the local neighbourhood cats away from the babies, and sadly in the end the mother sacrificed herself in order to save her little chicks. And of course robins mate for life, so we didn't have any more. I believe they do anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. We didn't have any more baby robins in our garden for a long time. We have a new robin at the moment. Now I'm going slightly darker here because I'm chuntering, because I don't really know. I've never done a video like this before, and I don't know whether to be quiet, which might be weird, or try and talk and then I can't concentrate on what I'm doing. So I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to blend those together. So I'm just sort of, and when you go over with your first layer, it may not look like brilliant to you. You might think, oh, that's no good, I'll give up. Don't, because if you just keep going and you keep fiddling with it, eventually you'll get it to look how you want it to look. And see, I kind of sort of move about. I've definitely done him too big. He's not going to have a tail or anything, but that's fine. I don't really mind. All I want to do is make it look like a robin so that it looks like a winter symbol for my notebook cover. I'm just going around here. He's got a nice chubby belly. So he's a well-fed robin. He's found lots of whatever robins eat, birds eat. What do robins eat? Anybody know? I don't know. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, because he's got quite a mottly chest, I'm going to just do little circles of the different kind of colours that I'm seeing, which are his feathers, but they're very kind of downy feathers, so I don't want to draw feathery shapes. I'm just going to draw circles. And so I'm using my kind of ochre yellow colour, and a kind of pale brown colour, and an orange colour, and I'm just kind of doing little circles. You might think it looks a bit weird at the moment, but trust me, it'll come out fine, or fine enough. And if it doesn't, wow, then it doesn't matter. I'm only doing it for fun. So I'm going to start doing like little lines. It's very yellow around the edge, so I'm just doing yellow around the edge. And then I can see a little bit of orange that's going here. I'm going to put some more orange around here. So I've given a sort of impression of his orange tummy, but with some other colours mixed in there as well. I'm going to put a bit more pigment down, and another bit more pigment down. And then I want to take my darker colours to give him an appearance of being 3D. You need your deeper colours. So around the edge here I can see he's got a much deeper coloured chest. I'm not sure if that is even deep enough, so I might go on with the really dark one and go deep around the edge. And he's even got a little bit of brown down there. So that'll just make it look a bit more dark. What do you think? Is it starting to look like a robin? Not really, not yet. That's fine. And we've got a little bit more of the dark here. I think what I'm going to do now, put a bit more dark here around his eye, and a bit around here. And I can see some sort of brown feathers going around here. One piece of equipment I didn't suggest that you would need, but which you will probably need if we use the mineral spirits, is a rag just to wipe your brush on. I want that a little bit darker. And we're just going to put in just a hint of some feathers with some little lines. Now, before I go any further, I think I will use some mineral spirits just because it will be interesting perhaps. Let me show it to you before I put the mineral spirits on. Can you see all the white in the paper peeking through? And it looks a bit like, well, it doesn't look much like a robin yet, but let's see if the mineral spirits will help us achieve a more sort of robin-y looking texture. So I've just got some mineral spirits that I showed you, odourless mineral spirits. Always use it in a well ventilated room because even though they're odourless, they still have fumes, I assume. It's still chemical, isn't it? And I'm just going to paint it onto my robin chest. Wipe my brush, sorry, I think that's off camera. Wipe my brush on a rag because I'm picking up the pigment, and then I'm going to paint a little bit on his beak, being careful not to lose my white spot, and a little bit on his head, round his head and round. Okay, wipe that off, and if you want to be sure your brush is clean, just wipe it in. What I actually use, both for my watercolour and my mineral spirits, is just a piece of bamboo reusable kitchen roll. So, you know, once I've used, as you can see, I've used this one quite a lot. Once it's, you know, starting to look really in need of a wash, I can just put that in the washing machine, because it comes on a roll just like a kitchen roll, but obviously more environmentally friendly because you're reusing them. Okay, let me show you what my rubbing looks like now. I've put the mineral spirits on. Can you see how all the light little white bits in the paper have kind of started to disappear? And it's got a much smoother look. So what I'm going to do now is, while that's drying, I'm going to give an impression of the white part of the robin. So I'm just going to put some white pencil down, which you probably can't see. I can see it, but you may not be able to see it because I'm putting white on cream, so it's not going to be very noticeable. And these feathers, this part of the robin is very downy, but these feathers seem like much more visible to me. So I'm just putting some white down, and then in order to shade that white, I'm going to use a little bit of the lavender, and I'm just putting little dots here and there, just to sort of give him a little bit of, so you can sort of see the shadows in the feathers, if you see what I mean. But you don't want too many, because otherwise it will just look like, I don't know, a big load of lines. So that's his little white chest, my little robin, and I'll just blend that a little bit with what's left on my brush, which isn't very much. And now I'm going to have a look at the feathers on the top of the robin, and I'll use my lightest colour first. So I think I'm just going to do lines to give it like a textured look rather than little circles, and I'll do it in sort of higgledy-piggledy layers, in the hope that eventually it will look like feathers. And he has a sort of wing coming out here. He's gonna poke out here, isn't he? I don't mind if he pokes out. I'm going to go behind the holly and poke out his wing. Why not? It's my doodle. I can doodle it however I like. Then I want a little bit more of the lavender up around here to use as shadow. And then I'm going to want some dark bits in these top feathers, just to look like feathers. I'm going to go over the top of that with some more brown, and you can keep going over and over and over and over until you like how it looks, and you can change where you're putting things. I'm going to go back, in fact I'm going to put a little bit of mineral spirit again just on the top. I don't want it too much because it'll take ages to dry. If it dries quite quickly, it evaporates, so I'm just blending in that I've just done. Now, what next do we think? I want to put my white back. Lost a bit of my white. Do you see how opaque that is? It just goes over the top. It's lovely. And I think I want to sharpen up his beak. So I'm just going to sharpen my pencil. I've got an electric pencil sharpener, but you can use a hand one obviously if you don't have. Because I just want to make this look a bit sharper, so I wanted a really big point for his little black beak. I wonder if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just putting in this, they're like a sideways V shape. That's what his beak looks like to me, and then he has a little bit coming down here and a little bit there, and I just wanted it to look, I wonder if it's too big now. Oh well, who knows. And I'm going to add a bit more black to his eye, just to try and get it looking nice and black. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with some more orange, and I just not doing anything particularly tidy, just want to get some more pigment on, because that mineral spirits has dried now. And I'll add some little patches of yellow. I don't think I've ever used that one. Do I need that one? Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's a bit brighter. Oh, quite nice. And then I'll get my darker colours, and it definitely has a sort of stripe going here of the darker colour, and a bit coming down here, and then he has some feathers that are like here. What does he have here? A little bit of down, more circular, but more feathers around here. And I haven't used my beige colour, which I can't even see on my desk. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Sometimes I can't see which of my feathers, I mean pencils, which of my pencils are there. So I'm just going to add some, oh, I think I was going to use this on the tail, and his tail's missing, so I don't really need it, but I could put a little bit of the beige around the bottom here, and I'm going to put a bit where the white and the brown meet, and I'm going to lighten up some of this with it as well, just kind of scribbling. I wonder if it looks nice, I'm not sure. What do you think? Is it rubbish, or does it look okay? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I should have used blue. And then I want to smooth those out a bit because they're a little bit like obvious. Okay, and then he's got like little white bits coming from his feathers. And finally a little bit of brown around the top of his head. What do I think? It's a bit more red. There's going to be a little bit of a groove here, and I think I'm going to grab, this is like a dark red, a reddy brown. It's called Capu Mortem. It's like a reddy brown colour, and I'm thinking I want something that dark around this edge, and maybe a little bit, if I go really lightly in here, just to, what do we think? Maybe a bit here. And then I'm just going to finish off with, I've had enough of doing this robin. I'm sure you'll be bored by now. I doubt if there's anybody still watching, but who knows, somebody might be interested. Because that's how I've kind of like got into sketching and drawing, is just by watching other people, see what they do, and then the bits I like I take, and the bits that I don't. I'm not an artist, I'm just a journaler, so I'm not expecting to create a work of art, but it's fun. It's just kind of fun to decorate your own stuff. But of course, what you could do, if you don't like colour pencil drawing, you could just doodle these kind of little circles and put stickers in the middle, and that would look nice too, wouldn't it? Okay, so I think I'm going to call my robin done. What do we think? So I've got my bee and my pumpkin and my robin, and if I put them all together, they look quite nice. And I'm going to do a daffodil there, but I'm going to pause because I think this video is really long, so I'll probably do that off camera and then show you what the daffodil looks like when I finish. Thank you so much for watching. If you managed to watch this far, please let me know whether or not you found it interesting in any way in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, or if you do sketching yourself, point me to your Instagram or your YouTube channel or whatever, because the whole point of this is for me to, you know, interact with other people in the journaling community. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.